Hey guys, it's Alyssa here, and today I shall be doing my June wrap-up. How the heck is it July? I couldn't tell you. If you hear a dog, that's not my dog. I want to preface that. I have terrible neighbors who don't take great care of their animals and they just bark a lot. So I apologize in advance for your occasional barking in the background. In the first half of the month, I actually participated in a readathon and I did actually pretty decent for it. I participated in the Feel Good-a-thon, which was the 2 first weeks of June, which is crazy because that feels like so long ago now. Overall, I read 11 things in June, which is my best reading month so far this year, which I'm really happy with. I'm hoping July stays the same way, but we'll see. The very first book that I read in June was the worst book I read in June, and that was Sea of Stars Volume 1 by Jason Aaron. I did not enjoy it. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It was just very lackluster. I didn't really like the storyline. I didn't really like the characters. I didn't really like the artwork. I just didn't connect with anything to do with it. It just felt very, very, very subpar and not interesting enough for me to continue on with it. So I won't be continuing on in the series. I don't really have much else to add, just that I thought it was a very lackluster sci-fi graphic novel. If you're looking for a really good sci-fi graphic novel series, I highly recommend the Descender series by Jeff Lemire, I want to say. Excellent series. I think there are like 5 or 6 volumes. So good. The next book that I read was Slam the Next Jam by Pamela Riven. This is the sequel to Slam, which was a graphic novel I read last year, and I also gave that 3 stars. I gave this one 3 stars. It was okay. It wasn't anything memorable. It didn't get any better than the first one. This graphic novel tries to do way too much in such a short page count, and it just falls flat, and there's just not enough dialogue and enough like building of the story, and it just all falls very flat. The characters aren't anything memorable. I do rate it like a 3 instead of a 2 because I don't think it's bad. I like the whole plot of roller derby. I just find that so interesting and cool. Overall, this isn't like something I would recommend. I don't think it's like a waste of time. It's not that bad, but it was just okay. It was cute, but nothing I'm gonna remember. Next one is my first 5-star of the month, and that was As Long as We Both Shall Live by Joanne Chaney, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I don't care what Goodreads tries to tell me, trying to tell me that this has a low rating. I thought it was so good. It reminded me so much of My Lovely Wife. If you liked My Lovely Wife, I feel like you'd probably like this. It had very similar vibes of just people doing bad things and just seeing what ends up happening to them. I thought the ending was just so good and so actually like shocking. I wasn't expecting it to end like that. And throughout the whole thing, I really didn't know what was gonna happen next. I had no clue like how it was gonna wrap up. So the plot twist was actually shocking to me, and I feel like there were multiple plot twists, and it was just really good. I listened to it on audio exclusively, and I thought it was really good. There is a lot of language though, and not just like language, but like there's like the one cop in it is like an old school cop, and his language is just it's rough. All of my neighbors just went outside and turned their car radios on while I'm trying to film this video. How freaking rude. I swear I can't. The next book that I read was Wicked Things by John Allison. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. This was cute. This was really cute. This was the first issue in like a short running graphic novel series, I guess. I enjoyed it. I'm planning on continuing on in it. It was just the first volume. So it was kind of like, okay, what's gonna happen now? Apparently it's a spin-off of Giant Days. I haven't read Giant Days, but it goes to show you can still enjoy this issue if you were wondering if you haven't read Giant Days. Basically about this young girl who is wanting to be like a detective or a PI or something like that, and it's just fun and not very realistic and just goofy. The next book that I read was The Lost Man by Jane Harper, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I wasn't sure how I was gonna end up liking this one. As I was reading it, I was like, is this really gonna be good? Am I gonna enjoy this? And the plot ended up being really interesting. It wasn't anything like spectacularly memorable. That's why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But I thought for a thriller, I thought it was more thrilling than Jane Harper's 2 previous books. And I am excited to read more from her. I don't even know how my neighbors are sitting outside because it's 92 degrees outside. You choose today of all days to sit outside. I don't know, don't get it. The next book is The Little Prince. I reread this. I don't change my rating on it. I feel like I didn't get as much out of it upon this reread. I feel like I was just trying to read it for the readathon, and it's something I'll probably again reread, you know, in a few years, but I wouldn't change my rating because I just think it was my mood at the time. But I keep my same rating of 4 out of 5 stars. And if you haven't read it, I do recommend that you do. If you heard that, that's a dog. That's my neighbor's dog. It's not a child, and it's not a monkey. It's a dog. Anyway, I'm gonna go out of order a little bit actually, and the next book that I'm gonna be talking about is actually another reread, and that was The Little Red Wolf. I love this graphic novel. I think it is so spectacular. The artwork in this, chef's kiss. Chef's freaking kiss. I love this graphic novel. I've never heard another soul talk about it. It's a retelling of, obviously, Little Red Riding Hood, and I think it's so good, and I think the storyline is really good, and the artwork is spectacular, and it's a little children's graphic novel, and I really, really enjoy it. If you haven't read it yet, you should, because it's really good. I really have to wrap this up because my neighbors are really like starting to party outside. The last 4 books are, I'm so proud I read these books this month. I am so proud of myself. I read 4 of the Sherlock Holmes novels, which is A Study in Scarlet, The Hound of the Baskervilles, The Valley of Fear, and The Sign of 4. These were not in order of when they were released. They were just the books that were in this bind up. And I didn't really know how many Sherlock Holmes novels there were, or in what order you should read them, or anything like that. I just had this edition, so I just read these, and you can totally read these in this order. I gave all of these 5 out of 5 stars. They were absolutely freaking spectacular. These books are so good. Who didn't tell me that these books are so good? Somebody is sleeping on the job because these books are fantastic. I did not expect for books written so long ago as mysteries would be so good, but it reminded me a lot of the actual Sherlock show with like Benedict Cumberbatch. That's how like good these books are. They like, that show is not making these books better. Like, it's very true to these books with how good it is. Like, it is phenomenal, and it builds anticipation so well. And Holmes as a character is so interesting and complicated, and like, you don't really know that much, and it's like so interesting. And I really loved reading this entire book. Like, it was so good. I had a really good time. This whole bind up was probably my highlight of the month. I ended up counting them as 4 individual books because I didn't really realize like they're their own stories. Highly recommend all of these 4 that I've read, and I am excited to read the rest of the books in this series. They're phenomenal. I wish I could have said more in this wrap up, but my neighbors. Okay, TBR Jar, here we go. Obviously, I read Sherlock Holmes, so that means that I read my classic for the month, which is very exciting. I actually just redid my TBR Jar, so these are all the actual books that I currently own on my TBR. Let's hope I don't get Vanity Fair. Do you see that? What does it say? Oh, The Merchant of Venice. Okay, by William Shakespeare. Okay, I'm not opposed to that. I could go for some Shakespeare this month. That is my classic for the month. That's my rushed wrap up because my neighbors, they're getting litty out there, so I gotta go. I gotta go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you read any of the books I read in this wrap up down below. Let me know if you read any of these books. I would love to know your opinions on them. And that's all I got. So I hope I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye.